There is some movement on this. When I say this, I mean the release of Palestinian prisoners. These are the latest pictures that we're getting, and there are pictures that are showing us the transfer of female Palestinian prisoners from Jenin prison, this is a prison near Haifa, to the Ofer detention center near Ramallah just a little while ago. All of this in preparation for their release as part of this exchange deal. Remember, 39 Palestinians to be released today. Some of those 39, it appears, are in those trucks that you're seeing as they're being transferred from Jenin prison to Ofer detention center. So Nida Ibrahim joins us now from Ofer prison, south of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Nida, you may not have seen them, but the pictures we just got and we just showed our viewers, several white vans leaving Jenin prison, headed to where you are. There must be huge anticipation across the West Bank, really. Tell us about what you're seeing on your end. I don't know if there are families gathered. What do you know?
Let me tell you about the scene here. We've seen those videos you're referring to, Cyril, of the buses being moved, having prisoners being moved from Adamon prison to inside here. We've also have an important answer to one of the two questions. Since the morning, families of prisoners have been asking two questions: who's on the list and when they're going to be released. Now, we have the names of 39 Palestinian prisoners who are expected to be released from Ofer prison that is just behind me. Now, we've been talking to a family of one of the prisoners. The father, his name is Nafez, his son Rawan has been in prison for the past 8 years. He says he's been denied from entering the prison to visit her, but he received the news as we were with him when he saw his daughter's name on the list. He says that this is a joyous day for him, but still he was saying that it's hard to celebrate given the amount of killing, the scenes that we've been seeing for the past month and more coming from the besieged Gaza Strip under continuous bombardment. Now, let me tell you about the people who are here. They're waiting and they're looking at those buses we just have been talking about, Cyril, and they were looking to see whether there are 3 buses who were lined up before the Ofer military prison. They were guessing, are these the female prisoners who have been just gotten out from the Damon prison? Have they made it here? You know, this area is very symbolic of the occupation when it comes to Palestinians, because not only does it have the Ofer military prison, but it also has the Ofer military court in which we see Palestinians, including minors, being trialed and being taken to military courts for what Israel says are crimes that they've committed. So now we're talking about this scene, this location over here being one of the most important ones that Palestinians are looking at for the potential release happening here. We've been speaking to also families of those prisoners whose names have appeared on the list. They're from Bethlehem, they're from Jericho, Jenin, all across the occupied West Bank. And they've been telling us that since they've seen the names of their family members on the list, they've made it here. But let's not forget, we're talking about 39 names. And when we compare that to the numbers and the thousands of Palestinians who are currently in Israeli prisons, we're talking about a fraction. But still, it is indeed a happy day for those Palestinian families who are going to have their sons and daughters back home with them.
Now, if day to day, day after day, these exchanges of captives versus prisoners happen, and if this continues for the whole 4 days, you should see 150 Palestinian prisoners released. I don't know if this will all be happening at Ofer, where you are, but for right now, what is your sense of the timing of the release? Am I correct in assuming that this will only happen once we have knowledge of the Hamas captives being released?
Indeed, this is what Palestinians are expecting, and they also believe that Israel would continue this waiting game as much as they can to give Palestinians kind of like a difficult time. We have families here who are saying, although we've seen the news that they are expected to be released here, we're seeing buses being moved here, but we're not sure because in the past we've seen the Israeli forces change the location of the releases of Palestinian prisoners several times. There has been one incident of a Palestinian prisoner, a hunger striker, who has said to be released in one place. All the journalists, everyone and the family members went there, but he has been released from another place. He didn't have a phone on him. He had to call his family using one of the people who were passing by in the occupied West Bank to call his family. This just gives you an idea of how difficult the waiting game is, how everything is uncertain. And even those families who were telling us, yes, we've seen the list. We hope that they're coming, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't know what might happen. So this is part and parcel of what Palestinians go through when they talk about their detained Palestinians, that they can't visit them. Since October 7th, the visitations have not been allowed. But for some families, for security reasons that Israel says, they don't even get to visit their family members at all. So this gives you a lot of kind of tension, anticipation. I hope that I am conveying the picture that many and the feelings that many of Palestinian families are going through right now.
No, look, you absolutely are. And the issue of Palestinian prisoners, this is why we spend, time talking about this. The issue of Palestinian prisoners is absolutely central to the Palestinian nationalist movement and nationalist cause. Nid Ibrahim reporting there from Ofer in the occupied West Bank.